Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're embarking on a truly fascinating journey. We're going to uncover the breathtaking mysteries and the hidden philosophical codes embedded within the ancient five-character poems of Lu Dongbin, a legendary figure in Taoist history. What looks like simple, elegant poetry on the surface is actually this profound map of the human body and mind. It's literally a masterpiece of both literature and philosophy.
But before we really get going, let's ask ourselves a profound question. What if the key to the universe was hidden in a poem? Seriously, how might ancient texts serve as secretive instruction manuals for mastering both the mind and the cosmos? You see, in ancient Eastern traditions, profound philosophical truths weren't usually written down in dry academic essays. Instead, they were encoded in art. They used the strict, rhythmic beauty of the five-character regular verse to hide these profound secrets right in plain sight. Just listen to the artistic conception of these words. The fair maiden dwells in the south, producing the sun by her side. If you just take that at face value, it paints this ethereal, magical realm, right? It's a masterful use of personification and imagery, drawing you straight into the aesthetic beauty of the verse. But, as we'll soon discover, this fair maiden and this sun are actually highly specific, coded terms for internal energy.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The poetic veil. 2. Rhetoric of inner alchemy. 3. Decoding the hidden metaphors. 4. Yin and yang philosophy. And finally, 5. Returning to the source. We're going step by step from the literal beauty of the poetry down into the deep, profound depths of Eastern philosophy.
All right, let's jump right into part 1, the poetic veil, covering surface beauty and mystical origins. Our source text details a really fascinating backstory, noting that these specific poems were actually penned in the calligraphy of the great poet Su Dongpo and purportedly gifted by an elusive old monk on Tian Shan Mountain to a Qing dynasty official. I mean, this origin story instantly creates a transcendent, almost mythical atmosphere before we even read a single line of the text.
And looking at the text, the poet employs just a brilliant array of literary motifs. We're talking golden boys and jade girls, roaring dragons and tigers, silver platforms, and even celestial flying chariots. From a strictly literary appreciation standpoint, this rhetoric is perfectly designed to construct a cosmic, fairy tale setting. It completely hooks you with feelings of reverence and wonder. It's really an aesthetic triumph that elevates your imagination and perfectly sets the stage for what comes next.
Moving on to part 2, rhetoric of inner alchemy and the metaphors beneath. Now it's time to peel back that beautiful poetic veil. Underneath all that fantasy lies a really complex literary device, allegory. Every single image we just discussed is actually a precise code for neidan, or internal physical and spiritual cultivation. The poetry? It's simply the gorgeous packaging for a very intricate biological and spiritual science.
For example, consider the term yellow sprout. On a literal level, sure, it sounds like some magical plant growing in a divine garden, but figuratively, it's an ancient metaphor for the true internal qi, or energy, cultivated right within the human body's core. Just think about the evocative nature of a tiny sprout pushing up through the dark soil. It perfectly represents the very beginning of spiritual awakening, germinating inside you with this quiet, undeniable life force.
The author also masterfully uses the rhetoric of a magical furnace cooking precious metals, smelting lead and mercury. But underneath that metallurgical imagery lies a profound truth. The furnace is actually the human body itself, and the fire, that's your conscious breath and spiritual focus. They literally use the language of ancient metallurgy to disguise the very real, very physical practice of cultivating your mind and body. Which brings us to part 3, decoding the hidden metaphors, the cipher key. Let's dive deep into decoding these, translating this vivid cast of poetic characters directly into Taoist physiological concepts, so we can unlock the true meaning of the verses.
Think of this as our ultimate decoder ring. That golden boy we mentioned earlier? He isn't a mythical child. He maps directly to Yang Qi, the active, warming energy. The Jade Girl is Yin essence. The blue dragon represents the liver and the wood element, while the white tiger represents the lungs and the metal element. The poem is literally a coded, anatomical map of your internal organs and vital energies, beautifully masked by all this metaphor.
So, applying our new cipher key, we uncover a super dynamic narrative. In the cauldron, the dragon subdues the tiger. In the void, the tortoise leaves the snake.
This isn't some fantasy battle scene. It's the philosophical representation of balancing the wild energies of the liver, that's the dragon, and the lungs, the tiger, within the cauldron of your torso. It's all about achieving profound inner peace and equilibrium amidst external chaos.
All right, part 4, yin and yang philosophy and the cosmic balance. To truly appreciate the depth of these verses, we absolutely must understand the fundamental philosophy powering these metaphors, namely the ancient principles of yin and yang and how they interact right inside us.
The ultimate philosophical secret here, derived from the I Ching, or Book of Changes, is about extracting the true hidden opposites from within each other. For instance, the Kan trigram represents water, but hidden inside it is a solid line of true yang fire. And the Lai trigram represents fire, but hidden inside is a broken line of true yin water. Finding fire within water and water within fire, that is the profound paradox at the very heart of this poetic alchemy.
Let's look at how this builds into a highly structured procedure. The poems actually outline precise steps of inner alchemy. First, you gather the medicine, which simply means focusing your vital energy. Second, you mix it in the cauldron, basically centralizing it in your core. Third is bathing, which is this really beautiful metaphor for resting and refining the mind. And finally, the ultimate transformation, the creation of the golden elixir, representing a completely enlightened state of being.
And that leads us right into part 5, returning to the source, the ultimate state. We've reached the climax of our analysis. What exactly is the ultimate philosophical end goal of deciphering all this incredibly intricate, beautiful poetry?
Well, the verse itself gives us the answer. Instantly returning to the state of an infant. The true goal of all this complex inner alchemy isn't actually to gain magical powers or to literally turn lead into gold. Not at all. It's about closing the 9 gates of worldly distraction. It's about stripping away the ego, the stress, and all the complications of the adult world so you can return to the pure, unburdened, and innocent state of a newborn child.
Interestingly enough, the commentator of our source text highlights a fascinating cross-pollination of ideas here, referencing Buddhist texts like the Diamond Sutra. He notes that simply keeping this knowledge to yourself for personal longevity entirely misses the point. By integrating these Taoist practices with a universal spiritual purity and actually sharing the wisdom, the physical practice is elevated into a pursuit of profound, selfless morality. It's not just about you, it's about the entire universe.
So, what should you really take away from all this? Basically, these ancient codes are a timeless guide. By appreciating the literary beauty of the verses, we unlock an actual roadmap for achieving harmony with the universe, returning to true goodness, and finding a deep, unshakable inner peace that completely transcends the physical world. It's a real game changer.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought. Will you close the gates of distraction and discover the universe hidden within yourself? Because, as Lev Dongbin's masterful poetry shows us, the ultimate alchemy isn't about turning literal lead into literal gold. No, the greatest miracle is transforming a chaotic, stressed mind into a peaceful, enlightened sanctuary. Thanks so much for exploring this incredible ancient text with me.